Member for Port Adelaide.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Energy. Can the Minister confirm that yesterday he claimed in the House, and I quote, "Since the start of the coalition government in 2013, prices across average Sydney households on standing offers have varied from increasing by $1 to falling by $473. Is this Liberal government so out of touch that they believe power prices have gone down since they were elected? And if so, does the Minister want to spend the next 3 minutes claiming that working families in Australia have never been better off?
Members on my right, the Leader of the House and the member for Boothby. The Minister for Environment and Energy has the call.
Well, the member for Port Adelaide has some cheek, Mr Speaker. He has some cheek because in this House he told a falsehood, Mr Speaker. He told a falsehood. Now let me first deal with his question. We have tabled information in the parliament to indicate that as of July 1st we saw power bills increase in Sydney. AGL increased it by $296, Origin increased by $310, Energy Australia by $320. But if you look back in the years since we came to government, you saw big drops, for example, when we abolished the carbon tax, Mr Speaker. Now, we abolished the carbon tax. Now, the member for Port Adelaide should know that. Because he put out a newsletter, Mr Speaker. He put out his own newsletter which said the decision to terminate the carbon tax will save the average family around $380. Mr Speaker, so that is what he said, and we know. And the Prime Minister, what a genius, and the Prime Minister knows that the ACCC has confirmed that the average Australian household has saved overall about $550 from the abolition of the carbon tax. So we have said that power prices have increased, and we are working to do everything we can to put downward pressure on power prices. And the Australian people are rightly concerned about rising power prices, but not the Leader of the Opposition. Now, the member for Port Adelaide, let's remind the House what he said yesterday. The member for Port Adelaide said yesterday. He said the Australian Energy Regulator and the Australian Energy Market Commission had produced data which had indicated that the average Sydney household had seen their power prices increase by $1,000. Well, now we have tabled in the parliament statements from both the Australian Energy Market Commission and the Australian Energy Regulator contradicting the Labor Party, Mr Speaker. They have manipulated, deceived the Australian people by using data that never existed, Mr Speaker. So it's up to the Leader of the Opposition, it's up to the member for Port Adelaide, it's up to the dozen other members opposite to come to the dispatch box to apologise for the Australian people and to set the record straight, Mr Speaker. Because the Australian people know that when the Labor Party was in office, power bills increased by over 100%. That was the record. They're selling out blue-collar workers in order to win Green votes in the city, and only the Turnbull government will help create an affordable and reliable power system.